This week on the RV podcast,
The first professional job I had here was playing keyboards with a salsa band. We had a trio for a while, and eventually I just started solo, just me, my keyboard, and some background music.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the RV Lifestyle Podcast number 575. I'm Mike Brundlin, and this is my lifelong traveling companion and my bride, Jennifer. Hello, my dear.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, sir.
Yes, it is that time of year. Unbelievable, the last month of 2025. Hey, this week on the RV Podcast, you're going to meet a longtime friend who went from being a lounge singer in South Florida to an RVing YouTube star who now roams the country.
Our guest in the conversation of the week is Robert Morales, a.k.a. Traveling Robert, and you'll hear the backstory to his RV lifestyle in just a few minutes.
We hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We sure had a cold and snowy one here in Southwest Michigan. Man.
Snow, cold, 6 inches on Thanksgiving, a foot over the weekend. Now it's December, the last month of 2025, and I'm ready for spring.
It hasn't even become winter yet. We had a lot of snow.
More than we had, I think, all last year.
So we are looking forward very much to January because that means
we get to go to Tampa.
We go to Tampa for the big Florida RV Super Show, and then we'll probably spend as much time as we can down in South Florida and messing around the Gulf Coast until it warms up a little bit. But it doesn't take long to get tired of the snow. All right, time now for the RV Conversation of the Week. We call this one From a Lounge Singer to a RV YouTube Star. If you enjoy watching RV travel videos, we're sure you should know who today's guest is, but if you don't, maybe his theme song will help you place him.
Riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, because I'm free in my RV, yeah, I'm riding.
Our guest is Robert Morales, better known to millions of viewers as Traveling Robert. Robert and his wife, Elena, may be based in South Florida, but most weeks they are somewhere else entirely, out on the open road.
Exploring back roads in big cities, eating what the locals eat, camping where RVers dream of camping, and then bringing all of it home to viewers through beautiful shots, honest, and very real travel videos.
But here's the part about Robert's story that a lot of people do not know. Before the YouTube channel, before all the subscribers and the drone shots and the driving shots and the campground reviews, Robert was a working musician, a lounge singer, a performer, chasing gigs throughout South Florida, audiences, creative life, long nights, little chase stages, big dreams. And then life changed. Today, Robert is one of the true pioneers of RV YouTube.
He did not just jump on a trend. He helped define what RV storytelling could be. Informative without being dry, cinematic without being fake, personal without oversharing.
And Robert composes, plays, and sometimes actually sings all the music that he does in his YouTube segments. Now, he's a longtime friend of ours. We've known Robert for almost as long as we've been doing this. And this makes today's conversation especially fun. We're not going to be just talking about algorithms and camera gear. We're talking about risk, reinvention, life on the road, burnout, creative joy, and what it really takes to turn a passion into a sustainable lifestyle.
Whether you're an RVer, a content creator, or someone quietly wondering if it's too late to reinvent yourself, this conversation is for you. So settle in, maybe picture a campfire and a sunset, and join us now for a great conversation with our friend, Robert Morales, Traveling Robert.
And there he is himself, Traveling Robert. Hello,
Hey,
my friend.
Mike. Hi,
How are you?
Great talking to you, Mike. It's been a while.
Yes, it has been. We usually run into each other a couple times on the road, but I was this way and you were that way all year this time.
Well, at least at one of the RV shows, we usually bump into each other. But
Are you back in Miami for a while?
well, yeah, I'm back in South Florida for a little bit. I'm actually at the end of the month. I have a hike something different that I've never done. We're hiking down into the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
So yeah, that's something new. A viewer, a friend of ours, he invited me. He's done it before, and I'm like, I've never tent camped before, but I'll try it.
Yeah.
So
The going down is tough, but the coming up, I don't think I'll ever
no,
do it
they
again.
they say going down is optional, going back up is mandatory, or something like that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've been trained. I think we're okay. I think
But that's
that's
awesome.
gonna be a great experience. Yeah.
You'll have a great time.
So
But we're
that's kind
back
of the
in,
immediate plan. But for now, yeah, South Florida. That's where home
yeah, we're
base
in
is.
Michigan for a while. We always like to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas up in here, and we use this to do all of our personal maintenance, like doctor's appointments and dental appointments and
Yeah.
eye appointments, all that stuff. All right, I wanted to have you on. You've been on many times before, and folks I think know that we're friends. But I think a lot of people, as I've told them about traveling, Robert, don't realize what you did before you became this big YouTube star. So tell us your background a little bit, particularly about that song, Free in My
Riding
RV.
in my RV. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that song, it was, the story is, it was right after our second, we rented an RV. We didn't have an RV at the time. And I'm like, we really loved that trip. We did like some of the national parks in Utah. We did, Colorado. And I'm like, after that trip, I was hooked. And then one day in the bathroom, I'm like, I just came up with that, hook. And I'm like, I got out of the bathroom got my phone, and I recorded it. And eventually I made it my theme song. I added all the instruments and all that. And yeah, that's my theme song.
A lot of them don't know that that is your voice, but also in your videos, all the music is your music as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it turned out at the beginning, some of the early videos, I got some music that I was supposed to be YouTube safe or podcast safe or whatnot, and it turned out it wasn't. So I got a copyright violation. So I'm like, you know what? I've been a musician all these years. I could come up with some basic tunes as background for the videos, and that's what I did. I studied piano when I was 7 years old, and I did a little bit of guitar. And when I came into the United States, I played with several salsa bands here and there, and so I have the background. I eventually I even have like my little studio that I created. So I mean, nowadays it's relatively easy and inexpensive to have a studio. So that's what I did.
Well, even go back a little bit then. Let's start that because you said when you came here to the United States, you were born in Cuba,
Yes.
moved to Miami, but you started off, you were going to be a videographer, if I remember right.
Well, that's what I wanted to be from like as early as I can remember. I was walking around when I was a kid, and I pretended that I was filming. That this would look good, and like directors do with the shot and whatnot, and that's what I always wanted to do. In fact, one of the first things that I got my parents to buy when I came to this country was a camcorder. And I did go to college for TV production. I didn't quite finish or worked in the industry for that matter. Also happened that they changed technologies on me as I was graduating. I studied with tape and all that, and then all of a sudden we're digital.
Yeah.
So, and time went by, and I just got a comfortable job at a TV station, but not doing anything creative at all. So, but I always wanted, it was always there. That creative bug was always inside me.
But this musical background, you were actually a lounge singer, correct?
At one, yeah, the first professional job I had here was playing keyboards with a salsa band. But then, bands started becoming smaller as time went by, and we had a trio for a while, and eventually I just started solo. Just me, my keyboard, and some background music on the laptop.
So from a lounge singer to a YouTube star, I think this is a great example of using your original talent with your love of videography, your love of music, and obviously travel. Talk about how you met your wife.
Well, Ellie, we met in high school here. In English class, I was having trouble with some Charles Dickens novel or something like that, and I was still learning English. So the professor, told us, "Hey, can you help this new guy?" And yeah, the rest is history. We were together then for 5 years. Then things happened, and then we got back together eventually. And
So you were high school sweethearts.
yes, we met in high school. Yeah,
So was Jennifer and I. Same thing.
yeah.
We went to different high schools, but she was at the rival school. But all right, so you told us about you guys rented an RV. When
Yes.
did you decide that you were going to do YouTube?
Well, all these things converge together. There's like several timelines, right? YouTube, I actually started YouTube back almost at the beginning of YouTube in 2007 for my music. I was just, I couldn't monetize any of that. I mean, I didn't have any subscribers to monetize anyway. But one day I thought, what if I start doing travel videos? And eventually what I did, I opened a new channel for travel videos. And it was mainly, I loved making these videos for like family and friends. And I did a couple of those before YouTube. And it was mainly just to I had that to scratch my own creative itch, if you will. That's what I wanted to do. And lo and behold, little by little, people started watching. But at the beginning, you always hope that what you do, people are going to like. But at the beginning, it was just for fun,
Kind of us too. And I was thinking before we started the interview, when I first met you, and I believe it was down in Tampa at the Tampa RV show, and it has to be 10, 11, maybe even 12 years ago, a long time ago.
Yes.
And back then, you stood out because there were only a few of us doing this. There were maybe a half dozen people that were doing RV videos. And of course, today I did a count. There's something like over 500 now that are claiming to be RV content creators.
I'm glad we got in early.
Yeah, we got in early, but holy cow, what a difference now. You have traveled how far in those years? Have you ever counted your mileage?
I'm not that organized, Mike. I know I've been to all lower 48 and Alaska. And I did a little bit of travel in Spain a couple of years ago. But I have no idea how many miles. I mean, over 100 for sure.
Oh, way more than that.
Way more than that. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, my current truck is 2.5 years old and it has 95,000 miles.
Yeah.
And the previous one I sold at 130. So it's been.
So you're well over a quarter million miles probably.
Most likely
you have done. Quick questions everybody always asks. Do you have a favorite place that you've been that you want to go back to over and over again?
Oh man, that's a hard question because a lot of places come to mind depending on my mood. But I always go back to the Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon.
That never gets old, man. That place. In fact, I'm going back now for like the 5th or 6th time.
The Grand Canyon really is grand.
It is. It is. It's one of the. This is the thing. You can only experience it in person. There's no way a picture or right now nowadays you have that immersive, like that new Apple Vision Pro and some 3D that kind of emulate a little the sensation of the 3D of the depth of the place, but yeah, you can really replicate it. The experience of actually being there, for the first time, can never be replicated. I mean, it never gets old. But that first time you ever saw the Grand Canyon, it's like tears in your eyes, man.
What is the hardest thing about what you do as a YouTube creator, YouTube star?
To this day, and I've been doing this for a while, and to this day, still balancing the travel, the experiences, the traveling and the filming, with the actual work, the editing, that work, let's call it cliche work-life balance. Yeah, I get too excited. I film too much. I travel too much. And I have all this backlog of videos that I have to edit. And I still do my own editing. I know a lot of people hire editors and whatnot. And I've done not for like shorts and stuff like that. But I think something would be lost if I let someone else, make that final product.
Sure, because they don't, and a lot of people do hire an editor. I don't, because they don't know. They didn't experience it. They didn't see it. They don't know the sequence of what you shot, and it's
Yeah, at
and
some
then
point, I might toy with the idea of letting them do a rough draft and then me refine it. We'll
sure,
see.
or the other
Yeah,
way around.
or
You
the
do it.
other way around
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
that's the way I would.
Hmm.
And I've had people like when we do the podcast, the video version. Kind of helps, with that, just that process, because there's so many little processes.
It's
Um,
and I complicate my life too much. I have like 3 cameras going at the same time, and I have to
and
do
a
the
drone,
music, the
and a drone
voiceover, the
following you.
drone, generate a graphic with the map, with the arrow to where I'm going. it's
Yeah, that's the
it's
problem
a
with
lot of
all this.
steps.
But basically, it's just you, right? You and Ely.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. It's
That's it.
yeah, she takes care of like emails and a little bit of social media and whatnot, but the production is pretty much 90%, 95% me. Yeah.
Now, are you guys traveling pretty much all the time together? Because she was working, I know,
Yeah,
a lot
for
when you were.
many years, the way I built the channel, basically, I'm like, we're talking 1997, 2017, 1997. Hello,
Yeah,
Robert.
yeah.
And I had like what 25,000 subscribers. I was in, but I saw that it was doubling every year. So I'm like, babe, I'm gonna do a couple of solo trips here, make some content, see if I mean, this is a unique opportunity. This may not happen twice in a man's life. Be able to to be successful on YouTube. Isn't it? It's the barrier to entry is hard. It's high. So I'm like, I did that. And she and my mom, I know everybody was kind of worried that I had lost my mind, but it worked. And for those first couple of years, most of my trips were solo, and then she would fly to where I was, for a couple of weeks vacation or whatnot. We did that several times. And then after the pandemic, before she started to work remote. So eventually, they will allow her to work remote full time. So
That's
I
great.
made sure we had the best internet money could buy, and
Yeah,
so we had internet in the farthest areas of Alaska, and we did it.
yeah, it is good. So, as you look at all the travel that you have done over the last decade plus of being traveling, Robert, uh, eventually comes a time when you got to slow down and
Mhm.
eventually come off the road. Have you started to look at that yet? What's your longer term goals? Do you see yourself slowing down? I know you have some property that you bought in Arizona. You've
Mhm.
got your Pelicam camp up there in
Yeah.
Florida. Where do you see yourself?
No, I definitely see myself slowing down at some point. Most likely next year. That's kind of every year I say the same thing. By the way, Mike. But of course, I'm not immortal. At some point, I'm gonna have to slow down and eventually, hopefully, not retire or just yeah, slow down. Yeah, but I don't see myself doing that anytime soon.
I had somebody ask me the other day, he says, "Are you guys just tired? Aren't you tired of just driving around in circles in the country?" And Jennifer said, "Well, no, because if you go around the circle in the opposite way you go, it's like seeing everything all different again."
And that's exact. That's true. That's
Yeah,
absolutely true. And I think as long as I love what I'm doing, it's not like a job. And sometimes it certain aspects of it feel like a job, but for the most part, no. And as long as I have my health, I can move my joints. I'm going. I mean, the 10 lifetimes, 10 lifetimes wouldn't be enough to explore the whole United States. And I want to explore the world too. I want to do Australia, New Zealand, the rest
yeah.
of Europe, South
Well,
America. So we'll see.
well, I thanks for being getting personal and sharing a little bit more about the man behind the microphone and the camera. And I look forward to seeing you. I hope I see you in Tampa at the big show. That's usually the start of our travel year every year, and it wouldn't be Tampa without you there. So
I hope so too. I have only missed one Tampa in like 12 years. So
yeah, that's the way we've
I
been.
yeah, I mean, I signed up. I'm 90% sure I'm going to be going, but right now I haven't. I don't know if I told you or no. It's not part of the interview. Maybe when I edit this out, but I don't have an RV to go to Tampa right now because my main rig is in storage out west.
That's your new motorized vehicle.
Yeah, I got a Class C. I wanted to have a small Class C like that one, under 25, no slides for a very long time. And one day I'd say, you know what? I like the same you only live once moment I had when I bought my first trailer. I'm like, you know what? You only live once. There's one used for sale here. Let's just buy it. And that's what we did.
Well, ours just got winterized yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
We came back this week from Florida to record this. And that's kind of a very sad thing for, you're down there in Florida. You don't have to worry about that, but it's winterized, but it's very easy to unwinterize it. All we got to do is put water in it. And we'll do that.
Just before I know at this point you're an expert winterizing, I'm sure, because
it's not bad. It's just, there's something psychological that,
I can imagine,
it's put to bed for a while.
Well, you're the guy who camps in winter, right? You do that winter camp every year or so, right?
We may do that this year.
Flush the toilet with antifreeze. I've heard all your stories. So.
Yeah, someday I will kidnap you and make you gotta try it. It's just like camping in the summer, except you wear more clothes.
Right. Well, I'm in the market for a 4-season RV, so maybe let me know.
All right. Anything big for you coming up in 2026 that we should watch for?
2026.
That you want to tell everybody ahead of time, because you don't want to get locked into stuff that sometimes has to change.
I do not have any plans like set in stone right now. I think in the spirit of slowing down, I'm just gonna go with the flow and see what the next small town looks like along the road. I have a Google map with hundreds, if not thousands, of pins. And points of interest that I want to visit. So that might be it. And at some point next year, I'm gonna buy a new trailer, and I'm looking at a 4-season trailer, and because I wanna have the best of both worlds, Mike. I wanna have a small Class C, and I wanna have a trailer that I could drop at a place for a week and then explore around. So
yeah, that's the way we've been. We've had both, and I think we'll eventually have both again, and it is so you can enjoy it. Well, as fun, it's just a fun conversation between friends.
I know, but we could be talking for hours.
We could, and we'll carry that in person in Tampa, and it will be great. Yeah, give our best to Ely, and we'll see you if I don't talk to you before. Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas,
and say hello to Jen as well. Yeah.
All right. It's always fun to see Robert, and it's always fun to get him on and introduce him to our audience if they don't already know him. We look forward to seeing Robert in the year ahead as our travel paths cross across the country. Hey, are you tired of expensive campgrounds and crowded RV parks? Oh,
what if we tell you there's a way to discover amazing overnight stays across the U.S. and Canada for just $49 a year?
RV Overnights connects you with incredible hosts at farms, wineries, breweries, and unique roadside attractions that welcome RVers with open arms.
These aren't just parking spots. They're experiences. Many locations offer electric and water hookups, and you can often stay for multiple days. Picture yourself waking up in a vineyard in Napa, or parking beside a working farm in Montana, or discovering that quirky roadside museum you never knew existed. These are real small business owners who genuinely love meeting fellow travelers and sharing their slice of America.
We've been using RV Overnights this summer and have just been delighted with the places we've stayed, like a bison ranch where we got up close and personal with some bison and had a beautiful bison pasture to camp in. Planning your adventure with RV Overnights is incredibly easy. They have a great app and desktop website. You search for your route, book your stays, hit the road. And here's the best part. Our audience gets an exclusive 40% off their annual membership. All you have to do is use the promo code RVLDEAL when you sign up. Don't miss out on this really unique way to travel and find overnight accommodations. Head to rvlifestyle.com/RVOvernights right now. And remember, use the promo code RVLDEAL to save 40%. All right, time now for the RV news of the week.
Foreign tourists who visit the U.S. national parks will face a sharp price increase starting January 1st. The annual parks passes will cost foreign tourists $250 per vehicle, while U.S. residents will continue to be charged $80. And if the non-residents want to visit 11 of the most popular parks, there'll be a new $100 a person surcharge.
Those 11 parks include Acadia, Bryce Canyon, Everglades, Glacier, Grand Canyon, Grand Teton, Rocky Mountain, Sequoia and Kings Canyon, Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Zion. And the $100 surcharge is estimated to generate $55 million annually for Yellowstone alone.
Foreign visitors will not be eligible to enter for free during 3 days.
We've noticed, particularly at Yellowstone, so many tourist buses filled with overseas travelers, bus after bus. I don't know if that's because of that or just a way to make more money for our beleaguered national parks, but that's a pretty steep price increase, don't you think?
It sure is. And thousands of camping stoves sold at Walmart are being recalled over concerns that the stoves could explode and catch on fire. The recall targets 201,000 Ozark Trail tabletop one-burner butane camping stoves sold at Walmart between March 2023 through October 2025 for between $8 and $45.
Now, we'll have more information on that if you want to go to the show notes for this episode. And you can always find our show notes at rvlifestyle.com/podcast. Hey, there's a new campground that's going to be built near Capitol Reef National Park in Utah. And this one is going to replace dispersed camping on Bureau of Land Management land all around the park. And it's going to help address a need, certainly in the national park, for more campsites. This one's going to be called the Bees Lewis Flat Campground. It's going to have 45 campsites in the first phase. No electric hookouts, but they have vault toilets and garbage bins and fire rings and picnic tables. And eventually they could expand those 45 sites to 95 sites when it gets done.
I think this is a good idea because the camping there will now be more managed, regulated. It's not going to just be free for all wherever.
They were having a major problem with people on the dispersed lands causing all sorts of issues, camping really where they shouldn't have and camping not taking good care of the site. So I think you're right. It is. Hey, there was a huge fire at a National RV Detroit dealership burst into flames over Thanksgiving weekend. 7 motorhomes inside a building and several outside were damaged in this fire. No one was hurt, but man, it grew dramatically because several propane tanks in RVs exploded. The National RV is located in Belleville, Michigan. It sells used and new RVs, has a service department. They're still trying to investigate the cause of that blaze, but you could see it for miles around with the smoke there.
Now, this is a fun story. If you are anywhere near Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky this coming weekend, you may want to visit on Sunday. That's when they will have the 46th annual Cave Sing at 2 p.m., a free holiday concert performed inside the cave itself with choirs, live music, and a festive atmosphere. It's one of the park's most popular traditions. Light refreshments will be served immediately after the Cave Sing in the lobby of the lodge, and there will even be a visit from Santa Claus. How cool is that?
That is really cool. Boy, that's worth getting on the road and driving there. I would love to see that. It's just a little too far.
I imagine a whole bunch of people coming. I wonder how they set a limit.
I don't know, but it's a popular one, and what a great way. So if you're anywhere near there, head over. Mammoth Cave this coming Sunday. Time now for the social media buzz. Wendy Boyer reports on all the hot issues most talked about this past week on social media and our RV Lifestyle community group.
Hi, everybody. In both our private RV Lifestyle community and Facebook group, we had a lot of people on the road this past week, and so many of our posts were tied to travel. And so in that vein, I'd like to share the first one with you from Tammy. And Tammy was going through the city of Atlanta. She was starting in Nashville. Her GPS had her straight through the heart of Atlanta, and she did not want to do this. And she wrote on our Facebook group, "How do I avoid this? I do not want to go through that city. What highway is best to get around it?" Now, having driven through Atlanta several times myself by car, I can only imagine what it's like driving with the rig. She got something like 550 suggestions, and would you know, the number one thing people told her was, go through the city. They said, go straight through the city. Many were like Mitchell, and he wrote, "I live here, so I know. Never take the 285 bypass. All the trucks are required to be on it. It always backs up. Stay on I-75 south when going through." And he said, watch for the crazies. Also, David says, Unfortunately, trying to avoid downtown increases your travel time by more than an hour. And he and many people suggested she maybe alter the times that she's driving through Atlanta, go on a Sunday, for instance, or go before 7 a.m., or go in the evening, and then just drive straight through with your rig, and it won't be that bad. Another question I saw a lot of was tied to travel meals. And one of the people who wrote a question on this was Michelle. Michelle wrote, "We are on the road for 5 days and 4 nights before reaching our destination. I need some easy dinner ideas for the road. Sloppy Joes and spaghetti are always favorites, but I'm looking for a few more ideas." Well, there were so many suggestions here, really great ideas. It's too many for me to say all of them, but a couple things I saw that might help some of you were things like cooking double before you go on a trip. So for those couple weeks before you head on the road, if you make lasagna, double it up, serve half now to your family and the other half freeze. Same with whatever you make. Freeze half of it, serve half of it. And then when you have those travel days, you just take those meals out of the freezer and you have something already cooked and easy to handle. Many other people said cook your protein ahead of time. So maybe you get some ground beef, you cook it, you freeze some of it, divide it up. Then you can take some out and have sloppy joes, some out and have tacos, some out and have chili. Get a rotisserie chicken, do the same thing. There were so many great suggestions here. If you've ever struggled with meal planning on travel days, you really need to check that out. And then the final post I'd like to share was also on Facebook. It was from Becky, and it had to do with companions. And she wrote, "We took our first week-long trip in our new RV. We went from Tucson, Arizona to Ada, Oklahoma and back. We took our 2 dogs and our cockatoo, and we loved it. The roads were a bit bumpy in some areas, and we hit a lot of construction, but we had a blast. Our cockatoo, Charlie, seems content to sit on my husband's leg while he's driving. Not the whole trip, but a big majority of it. Part of the time he wanted to sit in his cage. I think he feels safe in there. All in all, it was a great trip." Now, Becky shared a bunch of pictures of her animals, and they just look like happy critters in the RV on a road trip. It made me smile from ear to ear. And I wasn't the only one who felt that way. Karen wrote, "This is why I got an RV in the first place, so I could travel and take my critters with me. Glad you had a good trip." And I'm glad too, Becky. And that's it for me this week. I'm Wendy Boyer, and I'll see you either in our private RV lifestyle community or Facebook group.
Thanks, Wendy. And that actually leads perfectly into something Wendy navigates daily in her social media buzz report.
A lot of RVers are just plain fed up with big tech social media. You've been around big Facebook groups and you've seen nonstop ads. Really, you scroll to read something and every other paragraph they're inserting these screaming ads at you. And then their algorithm kind of decides who you get to hear from and who you don't. And that's exactly why we built RVcommunity.com. It's our private, think of it as a gated campground online. And we have absolutely no ads there. That's one of the reasons we have a small fee to join the community. No trolls. There's no algorithm games. It's just real RVers helping RVers, sharing real experiences, and asking questions, and actually getting thoughtful answers. It feels a lot more like sitting around a campfire than shouting into a Facebook group.
So if you're looking for a calmer, friendlier place to connect with people who get the RV lifestyle, we'd love to have you join us. You can check it all out anytime at RVcommunity.com.
We're on all the time, and we love to interact with everybody who comes on. You can ask us questions or pass along comments right there, RVcommunity.com. All right, we need to do a quick break for something the future you is going to appreciate.
Think about how many miles you've put on your rig this year and how many chances it had to throw you a curveball with repair prices climbing, even one major part giving out, a powertrain component, or even a refrigerator can turn a great trip into an unexpected budget exercise.
And that's why we suggest having wholesale warranties in your back pocket, because instead of stressing over what if something breaks, you've got coverage that helps handle those big ticket repair bills. You can roll into any licensed repair shop in the US or Canada. You can even use mobile techs. Wholesale Warranties claims team is known for being very responsive, very easy to work with.
And here's the kicker. The RV industry treats January 1st like a universal model year birthday. Your rig ages up on paper, which can change your eligibility and the price you qualify for. So if you've been thinking about coverage, acting before that date can make a real difference.
You want to see what it would actually cost for your specific vehicle, get a free personalized quote, go to wholesalewarranties.com/RV lifestyle. You'll find our link in the description below. It's a very easy way for you to lock in better rates and keep your travels rolling along smoothly.
And now it's time for the question of the week. And this week's question came to us from one of our podcast listeners named Nate. When is the right time to start making campground reservations for next year? And how do you balance getting great sites without over-planning your whole RV season too early?
That's a good question, and we can tell you exactly why we feel very strongly that you need to get those reservations early, because we learned that lesson the hard way. Years ago, Jennifer and I had our hearts set on a summer trip to Yellowstone. And we were busy. Life was full. Winter rolled by. And we kept saying, we'll book it later. We got plenty of time. Famous last words in the RV world.
By the time we finally sat down to make reservations, every decent site inside the park was gone. Not just the best ones, all of them. What was left were crowded private parks far away, tight sites, higher prices, and a lot more driving every day. The trip was still good, but it was not what we had imagined. That is when the light bulb went on.
And if you want great spots, this is what we learned. You got to start planning them while it's still wintertime. So here's the thing. A lot of state parks and national parks open their reservation windows 6 months in advance. So by January, many of the prime sites are already booked. Take Florida right now, for example. We're getting 2 or 3 emails a week from people saying they want a snowbird in Florida in January and February, but they can't get reservations. And that's because most of the good spots were booked last summer. The reality is, if you want to make important reservations, you want to do it about 6 months out. And that's the key, early planning. It doesn't mean over planning. What experienced RVers do is they book the anchors first, the bucket list parks, the peak season destinations, winter spots like Florida, summer favorites like Maine or Michigan, or places you really want to make sure you visit in the summer. And once those are locked in, the rest of the trip can stay pretty flexible.
The biggest reason people hesitate is decision overload. They don't know which campground is actually worth grabbing, when the reservation window opens. Nobody wants to book the wrong place and be stuck with it.
And maybe it's time for us to make a little shameless plug here. So let us tell you, that's why we created over 24 RV lifestyle travel guides. You can find them at rvlifestyle.com/books. We have written RV travel guides for all the most popular RV destinations, national parks, tourist hotspots like Maine, Florida, Colorado, Michigan, the Pacific Northwest, and many more. The Bourbon Trail. These are trips that we've made, and we've already done the homework. We'll tell you which routes are the best ones to take, which campgrounds we recommend in each region, places to eat, all sorts of other stuff. And again, the popular places are often booked up in January. So you should be ready to know where you want to go and be calling, get those reservations as soon as you can. It's a tough thing that you have to book them this far in advance, but you do.
So if it's a national park, a state park, or a lesser-known gem, you're not guessing. You're booking with confidence. That saves a ton of time, and it saves money because you are not bouncing around between mediocre options or paying premium prices because everything good is gone. And here's the best part. Planning early does not kill spontaneity. It actually creates it. When you know you have great sites waiting for you, everything in between becomes more relaxed and more fun.
So yes, even though it may still be winter outside, this is pretty much the smartest time for you to start thinking about next year. Lock in the best spots as early as you can, and then enjoy the freedom of knowing that you've got a trip already off to a great start. And again, if you want to check out our books to save you some time and help you in the planning process, just go to rvlifestyle.com/books. this is actually a really good time for you to do that because we've got some really good deals right now on bundles of those books. So check them out, rvlifestyle.com/books. All right, that is the podcast for this week. We hope you enjoyed it. We love getting your comments and your questions. Our personal email is mikeandjen@rvlifestyle.com. We'll see you next week.
Happy trails.